This is Noob and Solo Talk Anime podcast, episode 16, In Another World with My Smartphone. Quick intro In Another World with My Smartphone has a Japanese name I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce. Is a Japanese light novel series written by Patora Fuyuhara and illustrated by Eiji Usatsuka. It began serialization online in 2013 on the user-generated novel publishing website Shosetsuka ni Naru until it was acquired by Hobby Japan for publishing the print edition as a light novel. J Novel Club has licensed the series for an English release, releasing each novel in 6 weekly parts since February 2017. A manga adaptation by Soto began its serialization in Kodokawa Shoten's Comp Ace in November 2013. The manga is licensed in English by Yen Press. An anime television series adaptation by Production Read aired from July to September 2017. The anime series has been licensed by Crunchyroll. Um, and a quick summary: 15-year-old Toya Mochizuki is accidentally killed by God. As an apology, God allows him to be resurrected, but since he can not send him back to his old world, he instead reincarnates him into a fantasy world along with a single special request. Toya uses his request in order to bring his smartphone into the new world with him, which God modifies. As such, while Toya cannot contact his old world with it, the phone can be easily recharged by magic and otherwise function such as accessing data from the old world and can use relevant features for his new world, such as the GPS function to locate to locations which are comprehensively identified on it. God also greatly amplifies Toya's physical, magical, and cognitive abilities to a certain degree as a further apology for the inconvenience of killing him. Taking full advantage of his second chance at life, Toya befriends many people, mainly females and high ranking people in the New World. He begins to travel from country to country, solving political disputes, minor quests, and nonchalantly enjoying himself with his newfound allies. All right. With that out of the way, this was obviously one of my recommendations, and I really, really like this anime. So, uh, what are Solo? What are your overall impressions of this anime?
5 out of 10.
I mean, we don't give our rating till the end. Clearly, I
Yeah.
already disagree with
Well,
that,
I think that's
but
enough said. We'll see you guys next week.
no, 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 no. Let's.
I mean,
I want to know, like, what specifically about this anime either drew you in or just, totally just turned you off.
I mean, it's, it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. It was just in the middle, I would say. Um, as we were talking about before we started the podcast here, there's a lot of negative criticism around this show. A lot of haters. And some of them I agree with, some of them I think stretched it a little bit too far, but I'm sure we'll get into it as we talk about it. The overall world, I feel like it's kind of too bland and not fun. Well, here's what I'll
Uh,
say.
uh,
Here, let me say this one thing. I think this would be a good video game to play. If I was the main character, I think that would be fun to be overpowered as fuck and just like have all these bitches onto me. But to see it play out as an anime doesn't work as well as it could in
so
different
so you
media.
you you do at least find the premise of it interesting.
Yeah, I just think it would be better. Like, it's not as fun to watch like a character be overpowered and get bitches as it would be if you were playing that character doing it. I think this concept would be cooler in like a video game, which, if there was a video game based on this, that would be really cool. Like where you get to play like an RPG with this type of storyline. That would be, I think, a better
But
format, more
honestly,
interesting to me. And that's a
I
thought I
agree that
couldn't
it
get
would
out
be
of
a
my
good.
head.
I believe it would be a good game, but I also think that as an anime, this worked really well because Toya, in my opinion, is a pretty interesting protagonist. So
Mm.
seeing how he reacts to certain situations he gets in, or how he goes about solving problems in his new predicament, I thought was really interesting.
I
I
mean,
honestly I'm trying really hard to think of
I don't
characters
know.
in
My
which
my thing is like probably the biggest criticism around this show, just in like feedback that I've seen and what I agree with, is that he's just a little bit too overpowered, and he just is a little bit too generic and kind of as a harem protagonist. I mean, on the scale of harem protagonist, I'm not saying he's bottom of the barrel, but he's definitely mid tier hardcore.
mid-tier hardcore.
Yep, mid tier hardcore.
I don't know.
I wouldn't put him. He's definitely mid tier. Like there's nothing special about him. And if anything, him being overpowered is a negative that pulls him down a little bit because it makes him less interesting. Which
I am interested to know what makes you classify this as a harem anime?
everyone classifies this as a harem anime. This is the definition of a harem anime.
Like how though? I mean,
He literally has a harem.
he has allies, and eventually, like later on in the show, which is why I can't really say this is a full blown harem. His allies are basically just his friends for most of the show, and later on, after he's already engaged to one girl, like the other girls start realizing that they have feelings for
Look,
him.
let's
So
just say
I
the
would say
ongoing joke between me and you that these harem animes aren't harem animes is getting a little old. And I don't think any of our listeners
I don't
or
know. Like,
viewers
like
care to
I have
hear
seen
about
full
this
blown harem
ongoing joke
anime, but
that these
I've seen
obvious
full blown harem anime.
harems.
I wouldn't really classify this as a full blown harem. I would say it's has elements of a harem, but to classify it as a full blown harem, it kind of discounts
You
the
let me
progress
I
and the
think right here is a
relationships
good
that are
time.
built between
So,
Toya
in
and all the other
preparation for
characters
this,
in the show.
my girlfriend came in and I told her a little bit about the anime. And the look of disgust on her face was crazy. And she said, "Man, that's just fucking stupid and disgusting." And
Well, did she watch the
then
show though?
she said, "This is the reason I don't like anime." So
That's a little
congratulations.
harsh. That's a little harsh.
Congratulations. That's what this show and people that don't like anime, this is one of those animes that definitely gives anime a bad name. Mainly because it's a harem anime. I mean, harem anime is
Oh no,
definitely
let's say we'll agree that it's like maybe
and
halfway between a harem and I would say it's more of like a isekai rom com. Because for there to be a harem, you have to have a bunch of girls like completely like all like in on the main character.
we
These girls actually have their own motivations, their own like personalities, their own
okay, yeah,
lives
and their
outside
all
of just
goal
the
is to
main
marry
character.
him. That's their goal.
No, they eventually getting feelings for him, and like yeah, naturally they want to see that those feelings flourish into marriage later on. But like from the get go, they're not they're their own people. They don't live for just the main character. They have their own motivations outside of
Yeah,
whatever is
their
going on with
dream
the
and
main
goal in life
character.
is to marry him. Anyways, that aside, this is definitely a harem anime.
We'll
Don't kid
say
yourself.
it's harem-ish. It has elements of a harem, but it could easily fall into a number
This
of
is the
other
most
genres.
harem anime we've ever seen. He literally
Nah, I
is the
mean
biggest harem of any anime. Literally every single person he meets is in his fucking harem.
no, I mean, because well, spoiler alert, we'll get to it eventually, but he's only going to have 9 wives. So,
Yeah, I just said that. That's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
that is bullshit.
What's bullshit?
This is the definition of a harem anime.
No, it's, well, I will agree to disagree on that. I think that it does have some like some elements of a harem. It has more elements of a harem anime than any show we've probably covered up to this point. But to classify it as a full blown harem, I think this counts like the amount of development that all the other girls get in this show outside of just their relationship with Toya. So and one other thing too, the reason why I really enjoy this show and why I wanted to go back to it, I saw this like I think for the first time back in 2019, and it blew me away because the premise itself just draws you in. Even if you lose interest at some point in the show, which I think for most people that probably wouldn't happen. It does keep you genuinely invested. The premise itself, I think, is pretty cool. Like, if you were in another world, what would you want to take with you from this life? I personally probably, I mean, I guess, with all that a smartphone can do these days, I'd probably maybe choose the smartphone myself. How about you?
Absolutely not. The smartphone idea is stupid. The same idea was done in Doctor Who probably about 20 years ago now. There's a
They didn't
scene
even
in
have smartphones 20 years ago.
well, they started with regular cell phones and then they progressed to smartphones. But yeah, that's all started in Doctor Who. That was a thing that they had smartphones that could like talk and do things outside of space and time. And yeah, I mean, it's a thing that exists in Doctor Who, and it's stupid there, it's stupid here. Um, yeah, the whole concept is stupid. Another criticism I see of the anime versus like the manga and the novel was that he barely uses the phone, and when he does use it,
Are you
it's
kidding? In
just
the
kind
anime,
of
he uses it quite a bit. He uses it at least once or twice in every episode.
yeah, but I don't know, man. The
A
whole
smartphone is
concept
very central to the plot of the show.
the concept is just stupid. It's the smartphone definitely didn't need to be there. With the amount of spells he has, he could do everything the phone does without even having the phone.
How?
The only thing the phone gives him is access to information from the other world. That's the most useful thing it has, which he
And
very rarely uses.
its searching features are literally god tier. Not to mention,
But I'm saying
he's able
he
to
could
use the
eventually get
phone in
spells.
combination with like attack magic. He's able to use the phone to like mass target lots of enemies and then just cast a spell on multiple people at once. I thought that was awesome. That was a brilliant way of like utilizing the smartphone within the confines of the world he's in and stuff. He's able to combine magic with technology in a way that I don't think I've seen anything before this show.
All right, can I read you an excerpt from this worst harem list? Or uh, I'm just gonna read you this excerpt, okay? It's from J List blog. All right.
All right.
Regarded by many anime fans as the worst isekai series, this anime actually sucks and is terrible.
I mean, there's haters for every show
So
though.
not
There's haters
only
for
is
every show.
this a
Haters
terrible
are going to
harem,
hate.
according to this article, it is the worst isekai series.
All right. Let me like real quickly. I'm just going to Google the definition of hater. So, and
The
let me
worst
just let me read this
isekai
definition to you.
series.
It says a person who greatly dislikes a specific person or thing. And informal, a negative or critical person. I would say that definition applies to whoever wrote that crap that you just read. So,
What do you mean?
I mean that was just pure.
Well,
That wasn't even criticism because criticism is really
let's look
like
at an
breaking
anime
down
on
and
their
analyzing something
let's
from a
look what's
critical
on their
point of
good
view.
harem list. They said quintessential quintuplets is a good harem.
Which we're going to get to that
So if you
eventually
agree
too,
that's
but
a good harem, you must also agree that
I
there
wouldn't necessarily
it's
say quintessential quintuplets is a harem anime.
and
And well,
Saikano is
don't worry,
also
we're
on the list for best harem.
Site Kano is like on a list
And
of
this
like the top
list,
10
okay.
anime of all time.
So
But
this
well, that's on a whole nother
I
thing though.
fact checked this article. This article was actually connected to my anime list. So that's where they're getting this information. So according to my anime list, this is the worst isekai and one of the worst harem animes in existence. Now, I would not go as far as to say I agree with that, but I'm saying the fact that of most people, the majority of people that have watched the series feel that way, says something.
Well, like weren't you the one that looked up earlier that this has like what 500 something chapters right
Of
now
a
on the web
web
novel?
novel, but
Like
yeah.
and it's actually gotten some like pretty positive reviews on this site too. I'm looking at it. So like this one guy said rewatch the anime over 5 times. Don't think we'll read the novel though, at least not now, but he did enjoy the anime. And then this other guy said this book has a main character that's
Okay,
very
okay.
overpowered, but the story is a great. He says harem, but
There
let's be real. It's got harem
listen.
elements. I've mentioned my criticism on that. Uh, he says also the main character is very giving and chill about it. I agree with that. So the main character in this show, I think, is a genuinely interesting character. he does like evolve with the story. The rest of the characters do too.
Honestly, I'm just gonna say, let's finish up overall impressions. We've been on this for like 15 minutes. Uh, Overall impression, I say mid tier. And with
I'd
that,
say
I think
I'd say
let
overall
let's talk.
impression God tier. We're gonna
Let's
say God tier.
okay. So let's talk about the story.
All
So
right.
specifically about the story.
The starting premise was awesome. Oh, actually, I liked how they started it with something serious, but threw in a little bit of humor in there with that God just was like throwing lightning bolts around randomly and just accidentally kills. I thought that was hilarious. So it started off like with a really light-hearted tone, and I thought it was a great way to start off. It set the tone for the rest of the show, and like every episode typically doesn't get too dark in tone, but it does have its serious moments and stuff. I like the way it started out though. I thought God himself was an interesting character, and I thought that especially like later on when you get to see like the goddess of love and stuff too. I thought they were interesting characters. So it was overall a great start. What did you think about the start? Like, was there any point at the start where you just thought, "Oh, this can't possibly redeem itself"? Or
I mean, I didn't like. I mean, I don't like most isekai the way that they start the show. I think it's pretty stupid. Um,
well, he
yeah,
didn't get killed by Truck Coon.
yeah, but I mean, it was pretty dumb. Like, did they even explain why God was doing that?
Uh, yeah, God
And
seems to
why
be he's
couldn't God?
omnipotent, but he's a little also inept.
Why couldn't
So,
God just revive him?
well, I guess God has rules he has to follow himself.
And then the fact that there's another God later on, that just opens a can of worms that I don't even want to get into. But whatever
Well,
that
I,
means.
I think I think he's
Um,
like they it's like a
but
rank
yeah, like
a rank structure of gods.
sure, maybe. Who knows? But I didn't like the premise that much. I mean, it's just an isekai anime where, like I said, if he wasn't so overpowered, I feel like that's where most people fall out. It's just seeing how overpowered he's made. Like I get it, God
I
killed
mean,
him,
we
but
overpowered protagonists are just a thing in anime.
he
Period.
he literally becomes the god of this new world, basically.
Yes, I see you did read ahead a little bit, but yeah, he does eventually become a god himself, and I think he
I
like
didn't know
becomes.
that.
Oh, I thought you just knew that because you read ahead, but yeah, he does eventually become a god. But that's not covered in the anime. I did read ahead on the plot a little bit on the wiki just to find that out. He has I think he has at least one child with each of his wives, and yeah. Oh, I'm if the I'm guessing a web novel is past that point too. So I really do want to just go and read like now that I know about that.
Well, the web novels is what
Like
the series is based on.
just to be completely honest, I did not even know about the web novel until you found that out right before we started the podcast. So I thought there was just a
Well, it's
light
probably
novel
not
that was.
translated.
Looking at it now, yeah, it's translated.
In all 500 chapters. I don't know.
I don't know if all 500 chapters are translated, but like you can read it now on webnovel.com.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is a web novel? Is it because I saw there was like drawings from it? Is it literally just words, or is it like a web comic?
I'm
Like what?
thinking like yeah, it's
Like
like it's like it would be like I think for light novels what web comics are for manga. They're it's
got
just
it.
like a new, but it seems the web novel. You said there was like 500 chapters, right?
Yeah, but I saw there
Uh,
was some artwork like
Yeah,
from it
like
too.
the
So
web
I guess
novel
they do
only goes
drawings
up to like
sometimes.
200. I think it only goes up to chapter 209. So
So they don't have all of it.
no, but if they got up to that point, maybe it's still being translated.
Mm, okay, well.
I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to find out some more about that after this too, because I didn't even know
Well,
that web
apparently that's
novel existed
ongoing
before you
too.
found that
But
out.
even still, with everything that you just said, I mean, yeah, that's not good. I don't like that at all. I mean, what would be the, like? I don't get this. To me, I mean, I don't like most isekai anime in general, mainly because isekai anime kind of invalidates life itself.
How does it
Because
validate life? You're getting dark. You're getting
no,
really dark. You're going to
that
places
that's
that
how
this
it makes
anime
me
was never
feel,
meant to
because
go.
it's like it makes life pointless in a way, because well, first off, usually it's a young character dying, so in the real world, and they're like, oh well, the real world sucked ass and didn't matter anyways. That's usually how most isekai set up their premise, which that alone is kind of fucked up. So like when isekai anime at least acknowledge the past life in some kind of way and like reference it like it mattered. But in this one, it's definitely like they don't give a fuck. The other life, fuck it. Like literally at the beginning, he's like, oh, well, that's just how it is. No reference to his other life or his previous or anything he did there or anyone he did there at all. So that was just kind of already like puts a bad taste in my mouth with the
Well, honestly,
protagonist, just
I that
because
was
of
one
his.
thing I thought was kind of cool is like how
Okay, yeah, he's cool to accept it, but it makes me think he's some kind of sick psychopath, because he doesn't care that he just lost everyone he's ever loved, and he never even questions it at all. So like that alone makes his character very unlikable to me. Just off that, sure, he's a nice guy, but he's a nice guy on the pretense that he just doesn't give a fuck about anyone truly, because he literally abandoned his other well, not by choice, but like he totally just is okay with it and doesn't ever have any questions or any battles with that. So that alone makes his character kind of suck ass to me.
I don't
Um,
think so.
to
Because
that's
we
what I'm
don't.
saying.
First of all, we don't
It,
really, at least based off the anime, we don't really know much about his
Okay,
previous
yeah,
life
I
before he
know,
died.
but I'm
So
saying even still, that alone, I don't like that part of isekai anime in general, and I think a good isekai will like do it well, like where it
no.
will reference it in some kind of way and make it matter even a little bit. But the fact that this anime totally discards the regular life just makes life pointless. And then the another thing why this makes life even more pointless is that in this world he's literally a god and he just can do anything. So like it makes me question what was even the
No, he
point
can't
of
literally
his.
do anything. Remember when he first got to
Basically,
the world, he couldn't even use magic.
yeah, I
He had
know,
to
but
be taught that
he
by
eventually can do
Lens and
anything. And the thing is, I don't know. I just didn't like it. And like you said, if he becomes a god and does all this shit, like it's too much. It's too much. It's too pointless. It makes everything seem worthless in life. Like, because if you can just cheat, like he even admits to himself, "Oh, this is kind of cheating," but he doesn't give a shit. Like that's what I'm saying. He's a bad person. He's okay with having multiple
I
wives.
don't think he's a
He's
bad
okay
person.
with
Like, he goes
cheating.
out of his
He's
way to
okay
help his
with giving,
friends.
like, abandoning people. Like, I don't know. It just like I said, if he
Like,
was a video game protagonist, maybe, but an anime character, I don't know. I just like my anime characters to have a little bit more personality, a little bit more heart, a little bit
how
more
does he not have personality? He
based
has
in
like
based in reality, not based in like senseless, you know, nonsense, which is kind of what this show derives into very quickly.
no, like it's shown that like was personality. He has a little bit of an etchy streak going for him, but also I think this show does a really good job of emphasizing that he's really smart. I don't think many people would have thought of
Well,
using their
but
smartphone in the ways that he figured out
well,
how
the
to
thing
use a
is, God
smartphone with
increases his
that quickly.
cognitive abilities, though. That's not him again. That's God.
Even so, I think it's him a little bit too because like cognitive abilities gives you ability to like maybe like sort through your thoughts a little bit faster, but he has to have these thoughts to begin with.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, the thoughts never necessarily would have been created without God's power. He wouldn't have been able to think so creatively and like be able to solve the problems with the phone in the way that he does.
But the point
But
is he does use his newfound power to help people, and that alone shows that yeah,
well, yeah,
he
but
isn't
what else?
completely
Like,
selfish, and he's not like completely consumed by material things,
but it
and
wouldn't
he's
really
willing to
matter.
share everything, like even before like the other girls like Yai and Lens and Els realized that they had feelings for him. He still wanted them to come stay with him in that mansion when he got it because like he viewed them as valuable companions and friends. So that to me shows that he does have this selflessness about him that um I don't
Again,
think it
I
is
would like to
related
draw
directly
a
to
clear
God's
distinction.
blessings
We
that he
need to draw the
bestowed upon him
distinction
or
right
stuff.
now. the distinction between selfless and not giving a fuck. This
Yeah,
motherfucker
I would say if I would
doesn't
describe
give a
not giving
fuck.
a fuck, I would describe you.
And him not giving a fuck might come off as selflessness because he doesn't give a shit. Like, he gives a shit about things that, like, in the moment. Like, he'll, like, care, oh, she's injured, I'll heal her. Like, there's a problem, I'll do it. But only in the moment. Long term, this motherfucker doesn't give a flying fuck about anyone or anything. And that's what you're saying makes him selfless.
Oh,
It's
and
not it's not
that's
that
why
he
he has
cares.
9 wives by the end is because he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
That's why he chose to
exactly.
marry no.
Exactly.
That
And
that
that
that doesn't
embodies him.
even make sense. Why would you even get married if you didn't give a fuck? You could just sleep around with whoever.
If you have
But he
9 of the
chooses
hottest
it,
chicks in the
and then
realm, who
you
cares?
know what? When all these girls come to him asking to make them his wife and stuff, he has to stop and think. And you remember the thought that came to his head is, do you think I think that I am going to be good enough for them? Am I going to be able to provide for them? And it was like a thought that was bothering him so much that he literally had to go and talk to God himself to really get his thoughts straight before he decided to give them an answer. So he gave actual thought to that. That's not something somebody who does not give a fuck would do.
It actually is exactly what someone who doesn't give a fuck would
Oh,
do.
somebody who doesn't give a fuck would like literally be so bothered by the thought of whether he would be good enough for all these girls that he decides to go talk to God himself.
People
Like,
that are psychopaths can still be insecure.
so you're saying a complete psychopath will use his teleportation powers to go talk to God about something that is bothering him that he may not be able to help uh these other people out that he really cares about. Because obviously he does care if it
If
bothered him
if
enough
the
that he could.
psychopath believes that the entity that they go to would give them advice that would reinforce their delusions, which the gods do reinforce his delusion of being able to just do whatever the fuck he wants.
No, no, like. Why would God reinforce this random kid's delusions that he just accidentally killed?
Why would
Why
God
would he
give
do
this
that?
kid god tier powers and throw him in a world and like basically for fun? Because it's what it's for
Because
fun.
God killed him with a lightning bolt by accident. I mean,
How do we know it was an
if
accident?
I got killed by a lightning bolt by accident, I would expect to get some God tier powers and sent to another world with magic.
Here's my theory on why God killed him. God knew that if he stayed alive in the regular world, he would grow up to be like a sociopath serial killer. So he thought it would be fun to take him out of the real world and put him into this world and give him a bunch of powers and see what he would do. And this is what he did. Instead of
You know,
becoming a
you're
serial rapist killer, he became a harem master.
wow. I mean, like most people would have watched this anime and they would have been like, "Huh, that was a fun and entertaining watch." But you look for the dark sides of humanity so quickly and everything. It's absolutely unbelievable.
This
It's
anime
unbelievable.
highlights the dark sides of everything. Like I said,
How does it highlight the
inva-
dark sides of
this
anything?
anime represents a lot of things. So like it represents harem anime in itself
This
represents
Well,
like
I thought we agreed that
sexual
it has harem
desire.
elements, but it doesn't really qualify as a full
Well,
blown
I'm
harem.
saying, okay, harem anime in itself is like a degenerate like fantasy of like men, which is kind of disgusting and depraved, and it gives anime a bad name. Two, isekai anime is an anime for losers that just want to escape from reality because their real life sucks because they're probably losers. So that's why that anime
No,
is appealing.
no,
So this
like you
combines.
just because you have like some power fantasy doesn't make you a
So
loser.
that
That's the
that
reason people play video
combines.
games and stuff.
Yeah, but this is like not like playing a video game. This is literally giving up your actual life, dying completely, abandoning reality, and diving into the fantasy, which is
Isn't
what we
that what
call
you
it.
do every time you play Dungeons and
This
Dragons?
this is what we call in reality fucking psycho.
No.
You should never abandon reality and be okay with it. No, you can play with
He doesn't
reality.
abandon reality, first of all. He gets killed. He had no
Okay,
control over that.
if he could have told God, "No, it was my time. I just want to be like non-existent." He could have
I
said
mean,
that.
would you what? Look, if you got the chance to start over, would you be like, "Nah, I'm good. Just send me to the the endless void of the afterlife."
I'm just saying
It,
it
wa-
was a
it
it
was a
was an
good
option.
16 years. I think I'm done.
It was
Like,
an
no,
it was an
let's be
option.
real. Especially if you get offered the chance to keep your smartphone and then gain god tier powers in the
I'm
process.
not arguing what would be the perverse thing to do, but I'm arguing what would be like the morally righteous thing to do.
But really, like, would you make? I mean, honestly, I don't even think that's the morally righteous decision.
I
Because
believe
I
it
think
would be.
Toya like knew that there was more good that he still could do in life, and he does that after he gets sent to the new world.
And I would argue that it's not him but God.
So you're saying God sent Toya to do all these great things.
Okay, let's compare Jesus Christ to him. Jesus Christ wasn't nearly as powerful as him, and Jesus Christ literally was the incarnation of God himself. So, since this character is more powerful than like literally Jesus Christ himself, then yeah, I would say he's basically God incarnate on Earth's form, living God's perverse fantasy out for him, which is the reason I think God took him out in the first place. This is all a sick
No,
game to God. God is actually the main villain, and if the web
no,
novel hasn't gotten there,
it's amazing. The longer we go on, the darker your theories get. I didn't think your theory was going to get any darker than it already has, but I think by the time
okay.
we're done with
But
this, your
we
theories are generally going to like
so
probably put the
outside of
fear of.
that monster of a main character, let's talk about the other characters because I don't have as negative opinions. So who do we got? We got the twins. What do we think
Oh
about the
yeah,
twins? What are the
I
names?
really like both of them. I like I think Elle's
L's.
is she's like she's a tsundere character, but a tsundere character with a lot more personality than what a typical tsundere character would have. So in my opinion, she's one of like the best like points of the show as far as the initial cast. But I also really like Lens because Lens is just I can't really just put my finger on it, but yeah, Lens has boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. And yeah, and honestly though, all joking aside, Lens ends up becoming genuinely helpful to Toya early on because without her, Toya would have never learned magic to begin with. So like if he had never met the two twins, he would have never like probably gotten to the point where he's as overpowered as he is now.
He
I
could have
think Toyo's
easily learned. He
and
was going to learn
and
magic
then on
sooner or
top of
later.
that, they helped him sign up for the Adventurers Guild and stuff too. Toya didn't seem at first too interested in making companions before he met them. So if like let's say he had met somebody who wasn't as generous and like
You
helpful
know
as
what's
the two
fucked up?
twins.
He did learn how to read really quickly. They teach him how to read, and then like the next episode, he's like reading novels. But again, that's God. So like the thing is, I can't even give him credit for anything because it's just God. Like
No, you
he's
could
not
give
even a
him
real
credit for
character.
everything. Like
He's just a
I
vessel of
think
God's perverse nature incarnate. So
no,
like whatever.
no.
His actual personality is irrelevant.
Well, what did you think about the twins? At least you've talked to death about how Toya is basically just God's puppet. So, what about the twins?
The twins, well, they're actually kind of, a real anime character instead of God's puppet, like you said. So that's a plus. They're like a real character that exists. Um, I mean, I don't know. They were okay. They don't really have an arc of any kind.
They do.
I guess like
Els goes through that
the
thing where she like thinks
she did
she
like the
thinks she's too
dress thing.
masculine for like the dress, but
Yeah,
then
and then the other
Toya
chick.
encourages
What was the
her
other
to
chick? She like wasn't as good with certain magic or something. I don't,
yeah, and
that's the
then
thing.
like
I have to
Toya
stretch.
Toya's encouragement helped her to learn that bubble bomb blast move.
Yeah,
And I think
and
that shows like how like you see how their relationships are developing throughout the course of the show. It's not just like they go from zero to in love. Like they like you
well,
see these relationships develop over the course of the show and seeing
my problem
how
with it,
Toya affects their
which
lives and stuff.
we've talked about in some of the other shows we've talked, and it could just be. I mean, it definitely is just the length of the anime that we normally cover. Um, they do these things where they have like one episode where the entire character's story arc plays out because that's all the time they really have for it. And that doesn't bode well for me because I mean they definitely had more time to build up these characters more. I felt like the turn where like they were like just friends and then like they're all in love with him happened too quickly.
That didn't
I
happen
also
too
I also feel
quickly. Like
that
it
their
didn't happen
story
till close to the end of the show.
I also feel that their story arc of like them, like I said, they just have these mini arcs where they have literally like 10 minute or 5 minutes in an episode where like they have this whole plot play out of their like inner struggle and then resolution. I think stupid, and then of course the only other arc that they really have is just like, um, wanting to marry him. And like as far as these characters and all the other characters, I don't really see most of these characters don't really have any true goal or end goal. Like what was their plan if they didn't meet him? They were just like bounty
They wanted to
hunters or
be
something.
adventurers.
I don't know, man. I just kind of like they're just
No,
running
like
around doing
all these
nothing.
characters have their own like goals and motivations,
And
with
this
the
is
exception of maybe Sushi, but Sushi's still really
and
young, so I think we can give her a break on that. Lens and Els, they wanted to be adventurers. Lens wanted to obviously get better at magic. Els wanted to like probably get better at her like forge ability or whatever. But they really just wanted to be like high level adventurers. I think that's admirable.
yeah, if it
And
was a
you see,
video
like, that's
game.
how Toya meets them at the beginning is they, did this, like, freelance quest to get that glass antler, and, it ended up not working out in their favor because, like, they didn't get paid for at least they didn't get paid by the clients who hired them. Toya gives them the money just so he can break it, but I thought that, yeah, you could see, like, where their lives would have gone if they hadn't have met Toya, and I think they would have been on that same path. I think it was their path to being adventurers that ultimately led to Toya wanting to adventure. It definitely was too. So, um, I I think both the twins were pretty great characters. You kind of see like that sisterly bond quite a bit throughout the show as well, and I just really like their character designs. Um,
Yeah,
I guess
I don't know. I every character is kind of just they're blank slates that are just anime tropes incarnate.
no. Oh, well, like, let's go
My
to
theory on
Yai.
this show, like we talked about, I also think this is a simulation from the Angel Beats theory. Continuing on with that, and this is a
No,
failed sim where they were trying to you know have like
no.
a perfect harem type of story, and it ended up devolving into just some nonsense, and they just abandoned it halfway through and just let it play itself, and this is how it turned out. Just a shit show.
I think this was a pretty solid show overall. But I mean, that aside, let's go to the other characters. Yai, what did you think about her? I thought
Um,
she was a really interesting character, and
she's
she definitely
she's
does have
she's
an
gonna
arc.
have to be my waifu just because I like samurai chicks.
You know who she reminded me of more than anything? Cosmos from Orisuki.
Uh, a little
Like
bit,
her
I guess.
personality was kind of very similar to it. Like Cosmos.
I
I
know
don't
you're
know why. I
saying
just got
I know
that
you're saying that
vibe
as a
with the.
pro, but you're making me like her less just by making that comparison.
Nah, I thought like
I would
I
say
just got that vibe from her because
she's
like
a
she's
lot cooler, way better, so many ways.
I mean I can't argue against
And
it. I think I don't know.
okay,
I'm kind of tied between those
let
two
me tell
characters,
you
but
why I
like
like her character. I like her character because she actually shows compassion. She wanted to know what her brother was doing before they even went there. She like it was the only character that showed interest in kind of like bettering themselves in like a true way. Um yeah, she was just
you don't think that Lynn's spending all like using all of her mana every day training to learn that bubble bomb blast was trying to better herself?
yeah, but she was
She like literally expended all of her
but
mana
but
every
the thing
day to the
is
point of complete exhaustion
I don't know what her end goal was though.
to learn the bubble bomb blast because she wanted to better
That wasn't
herself.
even a good
Like you said,
spell.
it ended up being
It
pretty
was
useful.
pretty worthless.
No, it was pretty useful. I mean, like they got in a fight almost immediately after she learned that spell, and she did that. that move, and it ended up helping them take out the monsters they were fighting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. She is probably just the best character in my opinion.
I can't even argue against that. I think there's an argument to be made why all of these girls are like, like the best character. It just depends on, I think, what type of character you're more drawn to. And honestly, that's something I still now I'm having a hard time figuring out which of the girls I thought was like the best overall out of all of Toya's fiancés. So I think I'm gonna be struggling with that for years. Eventually, I may come up
Yeah,
with an answer to
well,
that.
like I just like Samurai's the nature of it because she like actually is the only character that like has like honor and dignity. Well, at least until the end where she becomes a
What
sellout like the rest. So
What do you mean honor? Like, how do all the like? Can you explain to me how any of the other characters don't have honor and dignity?
the
Please
princess,
explain that
the
to me.
princess chick wanted to marry him in 10 seconds. The other chicks just like were
Shit,
completely
he
dumb.
saved her. He saved her
Um,
father from literal death,
yeah, but
and then he
uh,
goes out of his way to find the guy who
also,
actually poisoned him.
yeah, that's true. But
That is a
anyways,
great first
listen,
impression to make on somebody.
I've
If you,
stated my,
I can
I've
understand
stated
a
my
girl in
case.
real life.
I've stated my case.
No, your case is bullshit.
That's your opinion. Let's go to
Yeah,
the next character.
lean. You know,
Lean is a sexual predator and should be this
I know.
anime should be canceled because of that.
You
This
know
is
what? You know, it's
triggered
funny you
me.
mentioned that. I was thinking that too. Like, lean is basically this anime's equivalent of Pepe Le Pew from the Looney
Yeah, I mean,
Tunes.
I've seen like
uh,
anime. I mean, she like I've seen like perverted shit, but she's literally a rapist. Like
nah.
I've seen like anime literally where like characters get raped, and it wasn't even as brutal as what she
What
sexually
do you mean
assaulted.
rape? She likes to fondle other girls' boobs. I mean,
She
I
was.
know,
I don't know,
girls.
man.
Girls. I mean, sometimes girls like to play with other girls' boobs.
I didn't like it in the fact that she's like 600 years old, and I think that chick might have been underage. There's like a lot of red flags going off here. I hated her character for obviously because she's a pedo
Did you say
rapist.
the 600 something year old looks under? I guess she does kind of look young for her age. So yeah, I can see that. I don't.
But yeah, she's like a
Think that
pedo, and
that's something too. I
she's like a
will say
fairy,
I'm not. Hmm?
and she's like a fairy. I mean, I didn't like that.
I thought the fairy thing was kind of cool. And with the few like you only ever see her pull out her wings like two or three times in the show. But I thought that was kind of cool. It's the only like actually at least in the show, it's the only non-human chick that you actually like see wanting to get with Toya. Actually, yeah. I think some of the other
There's
like because
like the
there's
isn't
three
there
there's
like
three
the
other girls that we didn't see in the show, but out of the girls we saw in the show, she's the only non-human one.
yeah. Well, I didn't like.
I thought Ling was pretty cool, and she by far taught Toya one of the most useful abilities in the show with program. And, like honestly, each of these girls have like some cool like abilities and stuff, but Ling's ability is by far the coolest in the show. Program, like, do you know what all I could do with an ability like that? Oh man, I would basically have like I'd probably use program to like I don't know. I'd buy a bunch of toys from the store and just go have them make my breakfast for me every morning or something. That ability is so
Yeah,
freaking awesome. And then
I
seeing
don't
how
know.
Toya, this is another thing going back to how my boy Toya is totally a badass, how he combines all these abilities he learns to make new abilities. Like when he combines program with he combines program with that ability to just like move stuff one place to another and like some other abilities to make the gun. Which I will say this much. That's one downside of the show is the fact that Toya would even make a gun when like a gun is pretty underpowered for just how many powers Toya has by that point. Slip by itself is overpowered enough. Like Slip could win every fight in the show. Like there's like not a single enemy in the show that was able to stop Slip.
Yeah, and that joke was not funny after the
No,
second time.
it was freaking awesome. You know if you had some magical abilities, you would want that Slip spell. I mean you know because we're both Final Fantasy fans. I'm hoping they add that to Final Fantasy 16, a Slip spell. Square, get on that, please. Um, I guess with that out of the way, let's get to Yumina and Sushi. I think we should talk about both of them together because they are cousins. They
Yeah.
don't seem to have like as like a strong a relationship as what you would expect, like cousins, like because they're like first cousins too. You would expect them to
Yeah.
have more relationship, but like Yumina obviously has like this semi sisterly relationship, like to Sushi, where she does um care for Sushi deeply. You see, like she wanted to take the opportunity to show Sushi around, and that one kingdom they went to when she had the chance. So that was gonna, and if also it was because I don't think if it wasn't for Sushi, well, at least for Sushi's father, which is another character, probably the only other dude that I'm thinking we'll actually talk about because he was a great character in of himself. But without that, like Toya would have never met Yumina. So Sushi herself, we don't really get to know enough about her in the show. And For people who are like readers of the web novel and or readers of the manga or whatever, I know they probably go a lot more into her character, but we don't get to see much of that in the show. I was a little disappointed in that. I felt like they had more opportunities to really develop Sushi more in the show, but we don't actually get to see that. That aside, though, when you do actually see her, she is a genuinely interesting character. I kind of like her little tantrums she throws, and you can see how she attaches to Toya early on. Like she kind of is like more like a like has this like little sister type of relationship to Toya, and I thought that was pretty adorable. What did you think about Sushi?
Um, I think jailbait child pedophilia is not adorable. Um,
What?
I think
Like, I don't
that.
know how you're getting that out
How old is
of
she?
like
12?
I don't know. I just got done saying she had like this little sister type of relationship to Toya in the show.
Yeah, like
At least
little
for the little
sister,
bit of time
like
that you see.
Pornhub
No,
relationship.
no, no.
Um,
And
Wait, doesn't he
honestly,
make out with her? Isn't she like
no,
12?
no, he does not. What
He
the
do-
hell are you
he
talking
does
about?
kiss her, doesn't he?
No, he kisses Yumina.
Does he not kiss her?
No,
Mm. But aren't they both 12?
no. Sushi's younger. Let's see. How young is Sushi? Yumina, I
He
think, is 12. Sushi is 10. Yeah. And yeah,
that is too
Yumina is
far.
12. Yeah.
That is
Um
too far. That is
Toya
too.
does say like he was going to wait
That doesn't
at
stop
least
him
a
from
few
making
years.
out with her.
Not Oh, you're talking about Sushi again cuz I just got done saying he doesn't
You
kiss
keep
Sushi.
mixing. I don't know. I don't remember who's who, but I know he makes out with one of them.
Yeah, Yumina. He kisses Yumina, but Yumina was his first fiance.
Yeah.
Uh
So yeah, that's fucked up.
I'd say let's see, how old is Toya? In the show he is, let's see. Oh, he's
16.
a, yeah. So
A
I don't
16-year
know.
old making out with a 12-year-old is okay.
I don't necessarily think that's okay, but at the same time, it's I wouldn't considering they're both still just kids.
His 16 is not a
It's
fucking kid, dude.
yeah, anything younger than 18 is. But
What the fuck? No,
but look,
dude. That is a
all that
big
aside,
difference, dude. That is
like
fucked. I'm just
the
saying
thing
that is
is
fucked.
the thing is by the time they actually get married, Toya is probably, well, actually both of them are probably like close to 20. Well, like they're in their 20s. Like yeah, Sushi would probably actually yeah, Sushi would probably be about 20 by the time they get married. I don't know. But
Either way, yeah, they were just like little kids
yeah,
that
but the
wanted to
thing
fuck
is, the
him, and
thing
he
is,
took
the thing
advantage
is
of them.
though,
I
the
didn't
thing is
like
though,
that.
we're not like looking at this in the sense of like the modern world where yeah, that would be like really wrong. But in terms of like the
I'm not.
world
No,
there,
I'm not even thinking in the modern world. I'm thinking of like pre-pubescent, like literally pedophilia.
this is not that, and it never goes toward the explicit area at all. You
He
have to like
literally makes out with one of them.
no, he literally hugs and kisses one of them. But uh, th- that aside, though, we're talking about their character. What did you
Yeah,
think
and their
about?
character were just sex objects for him, which
No,
is
they were
completely
not. Oh my
inappropriate.
god, no, they were not. Literally, like, probably, there. I don't think at any point in this show are any of these girls portrayed as sex objects.
Well, here's the thing. I think both of them were stupid. They were too young to even be in the show. They completely throw off the balance of the harem. Like they
Like you
just
keep
suck.
on calling this a harem. I was willing to give you a little leeway and say it has some harem elements, which you don't even see until like the very end of the show. But for the most part, I would say this show is I would put it more in a isekai and slice of life. To be honest,
But yeah, so they literally suck. They're just and they're boring. They're annoying. Let me think of anything else to note. Yeah, They're both princesses. Um, so they like come from families. God knows what they did before. God knows what they would have done after. They have no arcs. Um, yeah, nothing to say. Boring as fuck and highly inappropriate.
wow. Well, all that aside, there's three I don't really want to. I mean, there's three other fiancés that Toya gets later on that are not in the show.
We don't see
So I
any of
think
them.
not in the show. No, we
I
don't
thought
see Hildegard.
we saw that Sakura in the
No,
show.
we
I
don't.
thought I could have
No,
sworn.
when?
Let me see. Yeah, she's in the anime. Sakura, she survived an assassination attempt being rescued by him.
When in the anime? Because I do not remember ever seeing her, and I've seen the show twice now.
Click on the damn thing and click on there's an anime screenshot when she was in it. She was like in the background. I don't think she's like introduced.
Let's see. It doesn't even. This. Oh yeah, yeah. It says she shows up in episode 12 of the anime, but I do not
Yeah.
remember ever seeing her.
She's like in the background. I don't think she talks to him.
Oh, so you were digging deep to find this.
No, I
Let's
just saw
see.
the last episode yesterday and she
Yeah,
looked
it says
familiar.
yeah, actually it says like Lucia, she's in the anime in episode 12 also.
Oh, I didn't catch
And
that.
Hildegard, let's see her. She was also in episode 12, so
Oh.
maybe I need to go back and watch episode 12. Um
I didn't realize that I didn't see the other two. Well, I think don't they like show like a flash of his future wives or something? Maybe that's where I saw her from. I don't remember. I just remember seeing that other chick. Um, but yeah, I guess not too much to say about them. This is not a manga or light novel I'll be checking out. I know that. So,
I don't know. We might if this gets a season 2,
well,
we'll definitely probably
2017,
be
it's not looking good.
well, like somehow this is going to get a season
If the
2 because
manga, well, I don't. We don't know if the manga's over. I think the light novels are over, but I guess the webcomic's still going on. So I guess anything's possible. Um,
yeah, like one
so
other character I did want to talk about was the Duke, Sushi's father. Uh, I cannot pronounce this guy's name. Well, actually, his first name is Alfred. So Duke Alfred Ernest Orlin. Um, I always just calling him the Duke or Sushi's father the entire time. But he's a great character. He's I think maybe next to I mean like I can't describe it, but his character, even though he wasn't a major character in the show, I don't think the show would have worked without him because he's kind of like what connects Toya to like a lot of other stuff. Um, and overall, I think he's just like a really interesting character for them to interact with. Like I like how he's got like this childlike curiosity and all of this stuff that Toya introduces to him, like shogi and bicycles and stuff,
He
or like
he
when Toya like made ice cream and stuff, and like he was
he
just
kind
really
of
all in.
reminds me of Might Guy if he got laid.
That's interesting. Like uh, what?
Even his he has like friendly competition with his like brother, and he's like always just like this like really overspoken like childish adult. So
Yeah, I really do like that Duke as a character. I thought he was really interesting, and he was more than just comic relief. He was actually just
he was a plot
genuinely
device
uplift.
that gave the character money and power and privilege and
Yeah,
resources.
yeah. So characters like we need more characters like this in anime. He
Yeah,
was,
more plot
yeah,
devices to make an overpowered character not only be overpowered, but get all the respect and admiration of literally fucking royalty and give him an infinite amount of finances and literally a mansion later on.
yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I think. I think Toya earned all the stuff that he got though. It wasn't like stuff was just given to him. Toya, like, he went on, like, he did all that stuff, like, he healed, the Duke's wife. Remember she was blind, she couldn't see. And then he healed his brother, the king, and stuff. He made that portal that allowed the king to go to, I forgot what that one kingdom was. Uh,
I can't
what was?
remember names of
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, but it was Toya earned everything that he got in the show. It was like through his hard work and his dedication, his generosity. Um, Overall, Toya was just a really good guy, and this show does point out that like something that a lot of anime seems to forget is like sometimes good things do happen to good people. So I think that's something that I definitely took away from my time watching this show. And this was my second time watching the show for this podcast. It was more enjoyable the second time than it was the first time watching it. I genuinely do think this is a great show that a lot more people definitely should check out. Um, that being said, I do have a few criticisms on this show that if this
Well,
does get a season two, I would like to see fixed.
yeah,
First of all, I think like there's a lot of characters that just like they show up and they have a lot of um they seem to be really important to the plot, but we don't get a lot of time to like get to know these characters, the like these characters develop stuff. Like Lean, for instance. Lean, I will really feel like she was heavily underutilized and she should have been more central to the plot from the time she was introduced. Because like she's introduced, and then in the next episode, it's like she's running the place, and I'm like, I would have liked to see how we got from point A to point B. Just don't pit me at point B and say this whole line from point A to point B already happened. But that being said, Lean was a good character, so I can let it go. And I did like her interactions with the other characters in the show. Another thing too is I really feel like they should have spent more time in Ishin. So they go to Ishin, they meet Yai's family. They basically like completely end a war that
yeah, he
the people.
completely Gilgameshes all the fucking zombies.
Yeah, and that was pretty awesome and stuff. But I feel like they should have did more in Ishin than just that one thing, and then that was it. Um, That and also maybe spend some more time with like because those other characters seem to be going through their own like in Ishin when they were fighting that samurai, they those other character all the other characters fighting that samurai, I felt like they should have had more involvement in the fight before Toya just ended it. because it seemed like it was something that they had been working towards for a long time. So I had no problem with Toya, like, coming in to help, because I knew that's what Toya was going to do. That's the kind of guy he was. But also, it kind of like it demeaned like the effort that those other men had been putting in, because they were in this fortress and they were probably fighting this battle for God knows how long before Toya got there. So I felt like it would have been great to at least see them fight some of the other zombies while Toya was taking out the big baddie. But that being said, though, I guess that didn't totally ruin the show. I can understand that they had 12 episodes, so they didn't have time to really develop like all these other characters that were probably never going to come up again. I do think that Toya should have gotten to spend more time with Yai's family, though, because those are his future in-laws. Like, Toya should have gotten to know them a lot better before leaving. He was just there, like he says something to her, and the woman, like Yai's mom, is like, "Who are you again?" So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't even meet half
uh,
the chick's parents. One other character though we didn't talk about was the wolf dude. He was cool, or the tiger.
are you talking about the king,
What the fucking tiger that was turned into the stuffed animal dude?
the tiger? Oh, you're talking about yeah, his like that's what's her name? I can't remember. Oh,
Starts with a
why?
K. But he was
Yeah,
known as the White Monarch or
yeah.
something.
I can't remember. Why can't I remember? Like that tiger was pretty awesome, and then
Um,
the turtle and the
yeah, the
snake.
turtle. There was a stuffed
Yeah,
animal. They was those are the best characters. They had more personality and backstory than all the other characters. But there
no,
is one super duper important character we didn't talk about. Probably the most important character, and I can't believe you overlooked them.
are you gonna say a bench again?
No, I'm talking about the smartphone. Can we talk
Oh
about the
yeah,
fucking smartphone?
yeah.
Why?
Was that
So
an iPhone or an
yeah,
Android?
let's talk about it. Is he just gonna have that one smartphone? Like,
Yeah, and like,
was it evolved?
cause
Does it become a different smartphone later on? What if he wants
yeah, because like
features?
I'm assuming it was like running Android. Because if it was an iPhone, it would have been out of date by like the second episode. So,
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's
uh,
magical and godly. I was looking. Apparently, like later on, he gets a Gundam, so that's kind of cool.
real? Oh, when was this?
It's in the light novel. I just saw like his like powers and
He gets the
abilities.
freaking Gundam?
Yeah,
Oh.
because I wanted to look.
Oh,
I
this
was
show just got so this whole thing just got so much better.
see, but I was look because I wanted to talk about. I guess just kind of going into, unless you have anything more to say about story and characters, just going into the best moments and aspects. Um,
Yeah,
I
I mean, I think that's all I had to say about stories and characters. I really liked pretty much all the characters in this show. I really feel like the biggest downside is that, I mean, and I understand 12 episodes. We need a season two. We need possibly a couple more seasons to get to know a lot of these other characters. And I wouldn't even mind maybe a sequel or a spin-off where we get to see like Toya, I mean, like Toya's kids' lives and stuff. Because, like, I think he has kids, and then he ends up becoming a god. And then I don't know if he ends up staying on that planet, or I guess he leaves. And maybe this starts this cycle again where Toya is just tossing around lightning bolts one day, kills somebody, and then they start a isekai in another world with a more advanced smartphone. Because
hmm,
like, well, when
that
did
sounds like
like
the
this?
worst premise I've ever heard.
Yeah, because this came out like 2013, right? Like, smartphones have gotten a lot smarter. So, like,
That's true. That is true. His phone doesn't even fold.
yeah, I mean, like, so seeing somebody like, maybe with a smartphone that I mean, like there's just like they did a lot with the smartphone concept as it is, but like seeing them go even further, like maybe like playing like like playing some mobile games, and somehow through magic the mobile games, like maybe they're playing Fate Grand Order or something, and the cards that he summons in a mobile game can become like characters in the world and stuff.
Yeah, isn't that lame? He didn't play a single fucking game on his phone the whole time. Man,
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of disappointed in that, but like I said, there's so much potential for a sequel to this show.
he'd even jack off to porn one time. I mean,
I mean, I don't think, if you had godlike powers that would be the first thing you want to do.
That's probably the reason he asked for the phone in the first place. Let's be honest.
No, I think he wanted the phone just so that he could
You're
keep
telling
up
me
with
a
his friends on
16-year-old
Facebook.
kid wanted a like it's for the porn, bro. That's
Yeah,
what
you're
people
right. It
use
wasn't Facebook. He wanted to keep up with what's going on Twitter.
on Pornhub. Um, but yeah, what I was gonna say, I guess my best moment. Mm, it's a tricky one. I liked the Gunblade. That was cool. I wish we got to see him build the Gundam. That sounds even cooler.
That does sound
Um,
awesome.
the Gunblade though was pretty cool. And other than that, I mean, I guess my favorite aspect was the chicks were okay. They were interesting. The battle sequences were kind of cool. Again, though, I just wish it was a video game. I mean, I'm gonna keep saying that. It just doesn't really work as anime as well as it should, and that's why I think a lot of people shit on it because it doesn't really have much that stands out besides that. I mean, even the art and animation pretty basic, music nothing special, characters nothing
Oh,
special.
the art and animation were incredible for
This is
this. Like,
this is a pretty forgettable anime to me. But what was your best moments and aspects?
honestly, my best moment was like when he used Slip in on the fight with that king of I forgot what that kingdom was called, but when he was using Slip on that king during that fight, that was for me the best moment of the show. I was
When he beat him in the first try?
yeah, like beat him with like first 10 seconds with like he cast Slip and just put a sword in his face. Did you see how pissed off that king was? Oh, it was great. Um, and overall, like I thought, like at best aspects of the show, I like the whole premise of the show. I mean, I think they took a pretty interesting premise and they did some genuinely interesting things with it. So I think that's it for me on best moments and aspects.
So then, your final thoughts. Then, what do you have to say?
My final thoughts are, it, the show was great. It's proof that you can take, like, like there's still a lot left, even with a premise that you think has been like, the whole concept of isekai, a premise that you think has been like covered so many times, and it's just there's nothing new you can do with it. The show shows that you could take a concept that, like an isekai that's has been like done like over and over, and you could have a fresh new twist on it, and you could do something new with a pretty old concept, and genuinely excite like viewers, and like draw new people into the isekai genre in general. So I really love the show. I think everybody should at least try it out. It's definitely it's definitely got, and also it's got one of the best dubs I've ever seen for a light novel adaptation. So that's another thing it has going for it.
I didn't know I had a
But
dub.
all right, so that's it for me. What's your final thoughts?
Well, I mean, I've kind of said it over and over as we talked and kind of reflecting on the series. Um, I think I've grown to dislike it even more. Um,
Huh?
just I don't think it's worth watching. I don't think it's worth engaging with at all, unless you truly have nothing else to watch. But I think almost any anime, to a certain extent, especially in the two genres that it most widely represents here, would be better. This is probably one of the worst. This is the worst isekai anime I've watched to completion, I would say. And that's
Yeah.
I haven't seen a crazy amount of isekai or anything, but this definitely is the worst one. And I hate Sword Art Online, so that's
Wow.
saying something. This is definitely worse than Sword Art Online. Um, at least that has some cohesive plot and development. But yeah, just because I'm a big character guy, this characters basically do nothing in this whole show, and I felt like it was kind of just a nothing experience. The only thing, like I said, I did enjoy was the characters were kind of fun and the world was somewhat interesting, but I think everything would have played out in a different medium, which maybe the manga is better because it like gives more time for development in certain ways. But I'm not even gonna bother with anything. So I would say not recommend. And yeah, I would. Yeah, didn't like it.
Yeah, obviously disagree with that wholeheartedly, but I guess we can get to the my anime list for this real quick.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm sitting at about a 4 right now.
well, we can't give it anything less than a 6.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. I
mm,
think we got to give it a 5.
no, no, no. A 6 is where I'm kind of like trying to negotiate at
I
because
I
I
mean,
feel like it truly deserves a 7,
ah,
but
come on, man, come on.
mm, no,
You've seen our anime list.
yeah, that's why I'm willing to go with a 6.
I think a 5 is respectable.
No, 5 is not respectful. The show deserves much better than a 5.
I can't put it at a 6, man. The shows that we gave a
I
6 were better. I
No,
liked MM better than this.
I can't go any lower than a
I liked
6. I
MM
mean,
better
a
than
6,
this.
no, like a 6 is where I'm kind of like trying to meet you in the middle because I feel like it deserves higher. So I feel like it deserves a 7. I think a 7 is actually what this deserves, but I'm willing to go down to a 6.
Mm, that's tricky. I don't know
Yeah.
what the right answer is here.
Um or I guess we could go in another world.
God damn it. I just don't know what to give it though. I don't know what to give it. I don't want to give it a 6, man. You think it's
I don't
better?
want to give it a 5.
You think it's as good as all of our other 6s?
What else did we give a 6 to?
MM,
Yes, this is definitely as good as MM. In fact,
uh
I've already mentioned
Sunday,
before. I think
High School
MM
of the
deserves a
Dead,
higher
and
score too.
Sunday Without God. We all gave those all 6s.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's better than some of those. I will say
Mm,
without a doubt, this show's better than Sunday Without God.
I'm gonna have to completely disagree with you. 5 is an average, and I think this show is
Uh,
leaning towards bad, not leaning towards
no,
average.
no. I think
I started off with
honestly,
the podcast
I
saying a
like I
5 out of
said,
10.
like I said, I think this show deserves a 7,
If we
but
could give
I'm
it a
willing to go as low as
5.5,
a 6.
if we could give it a 5.4 out of 10, I would say let's give it a 5.4. But we can't.
I'm personally sitting at around a 6.5, but I'm willing to go as low as a 6. So I'm trying to actually meet you in the middle on
Okay,
this.
how shitty.
I'm trying to
Okay,
negotiate
but
the
how
uh,
shitty would an anime need to be for it to be worse than this, but better than No Guns Life?
how low did we give No Guns Life?
A 4.
Really? We gave it something that high? So
So that's what I'm
wow.
trying to think. There has to
Well,
be something.
first of all,
I
we need to
think
go
to
back and
me,
readjust. We need to readjust that because No Guns Life deserves way
I
lower than
don't
a
think the
4.
gap
Uh,
between this and No Guns Life is as far as what that would be. That's what I'm saying.
no, the gap is
I think
it's like night and day.
if this doesn't
But
get a 5, I don't think there's anything that will ever get a 5 because I don't think there's going to be
no,
anything that's like completely average that we'll watch.
I can think of animes right now that I'd
This is
probably
the
give a
most
5 to.
average anime I've ever
How is
seen.
what average like how? The concept is totally unique and interesting.
All right, the My Anime
Um,
scale it goes 4 is a bad, 5 is average, 6 is fine, 7 is good. It's definitely not good.
I
Is
would
this
say yeah.
fine?
I'm actually I had a 7, but I'm willing to go down to a 6 to meet you in the middle.
I said I wanted to give it a
So
4.
if you are at a 5 and I'm at a 7, I think 6 is perfectly in the middle, and I'm willing to settle with that.
I think it's more of a 4 though.
No, no.
Hmm. A lot of people
I
think it's a
like
4.
comparing this to No Guns Life is like an insult. That is a
Hmm.
true insult. In fact, No
I
Guns
would
Life
push
truly does
I would
deserve a
push
lower
this over
score.
to the Reddit, the anime Reddit, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna give it like a 2, so that won't be fair. Mm.
Yeah, this
All right.
um
How about this? We will give it a 6 for now. But
all right.
if we get more votes less than 6 on a poll we put on Twitter and Reddit, then we drop it to a 5. How do you feel about
I
that?
I I would like to adjust that because it with that poll, it's going to lean toward the lower side. That's just how Reddit works.
What do you
Um,
mean? That's not how. That's. I'm just. I
that's
think.
like I know how Reddit works. So
Look, I know
instead,
this is our
instead of
personal.
having a poll, I say we just let people suggest a number, and if for every number lower than 6, well, lower than a 5, or 5 or less, will go towards the 5 score. Any number higher than a 5, so 6 or higher, will go toward the 6 score.
All
And then
right,
we just
I
count
can
the
agree to that. So if you want to vote in that, we'll have the link for that in the description on where we'll post information about it. And then, yeah, I mean, damn it, that really hurts me giving it a 6 for now.
I mean, I honestly truly deserves higher, but
I
I think a
don't.
6 is reasonable.
That's
Because I understand that there's people who like this anime might be a little too real for them, and I understand that. But
all right. Well, with that said, I guess we'll wrap this episode. And next
so
week, let me see. What did I decide? What did I decide? Okay, so next week we are doing Astra Lost in Space, which is an
awesome.
anime I have not seen, but I have read the manga extensively. I'm probably halfway through the manga. I don't know how far the anime covers in the manga, but it definitely doesn't seem like it could probably sum up in 12 episodes. So maybe this is when we'll get a season two for. Who knows? Who knows? But we're going to be covering at least the first 12 episodes of that. And I believe Noob here has not seen
I've
it
never seen it.
or
I've been wanting to watch it, so this is
dived into it.
kind
So
of a good
it's going to
opportunity.
be an anime that we're both watching for the first time, technically. So that'll be cool. Hopefully, it
Yeah.
is as good as the manga. But yeah, other than that, any other closing thoughts for you, Noob?
No, I'm looking forward to Astra Lost in Space, and I guess we'll see y'all next week.
Yep, we'll see you guys next week, and we'll have a nice break from the harem anime, and hopefully, I'll talk to Noob off screen and make sure that his next pick's not a harem because I know,
This was not a harem,
I
so
know we're all tired of it. So, but
no, this was not a harem.
all right, but
But
we'll see you guys next week.
awesome.